Yes, people, welcome back to another video. John Sinclair TV back again this afternoon's early one, and it's a match review show. And if you like the video, like what you see, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And I came back from Leicester yesterday, and yeah, listen, I mean, we won by 3-0 at the KP Stadium. I thought it was a great effort, it was a great performance by the lads. And look, if I just bring up the team lineup as well, I'm going to share the screen in a bit as I speak. So, yeah, just go wait for Toon to come on, and I hope he'll be here very, very, very soon. And when he does come on, I'm going to get the team share the screen as well. And Eddie picked yesterday, and I think it's a bit slow on the day. I do apologise, and Toon to be here very, very, very soon. We'll go through the player ratings, and we're going to go through what happened step-by-step yesterday as well. So, and this is yesterday's team that's come out. Eddie picked. It's he went with Nick Pope and goal. He went with back four. It's Trippier, Dan Burn, Sven Botman, Van and Share. That's the back five, really, and that's a strong back five. The midfield three is Bruno Guimaraes, Sean Longstaff, Joe Willock. Excuse me. And up front, it'll be Miggy, Joelinton, and Chris Wood, who comes in because Callum Wilson has been ill. So he did not play yesterday at all, which is a shame. But at this moment in time, that's a good lineup. I know people's going to say, oh, we're going to lose, you're going to get beaten, that sort of thing. But we have won many games without Callum Wilson before, and we are going to continue to win many games without Callum Wilson as well. This is why we need a striker in January, just in case we don't anyone gets injured. Tony, afternoon to you, mate.
Afternoon, John. Breaking news just come out on Sky. Norwich have sacked their manager, Dean Smith. So, Dean Smith, who got the Norwich job last year, now being sacked by Norwich a year later. So, there you go, guys. Breaking news from the Championship. So, Eddie Howe has now said goodbye to Steven Gerrard and Dean Smith.
Absolutely, absolutely. You heard it first. Dean Smith has been sacked. No surprise at all. They got beat off Luton by 2-1 last night. Luton scored late on in the game, which sealed his fate. And even the Norwich fans are a bit peeved off anyway with the way he is anyway. And he's just not the man who's going to take them up at all. So Dean Smith's stock has dropped just that little bit. So, Tony, just on the lineup yesterday, I mean, Callum Wilson didn't start yesterday. He was ill. And other than that, he still picked a strong team there. And Joelinton on the left-hand side, which is where he plays, so Hoffenheim, he's done it again. He had a wonderful game yesterday. What do you think of that team lineup yesterday, Tony?
I was happy with it, John. I mean, yeah, okay, I was a bit surprised there's no Wilson, no Shelby in the squad. But I thought, no, the team we've got there should still have enough to go out there and beat Leicester City. Although I thought Leicester would be a tough team to beat, considering they beat us 4-0 down there last season. And I know we're a different team from then. But, you know, we've not had the best of times down there. I mean, we did win 4-2 down there a few years ago as well, when Wilson got 2, Willock scored and done it. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with our team. I know some people weren't too happy about Chris Wood being in the side, but if we haven't got Callum Wilson, we've got to rely on Chris Wood. And to me, that was a good enough team in my eyes. And nothing more you can do with it because, unfortunately, that's what you've got to use the squad you've got. And if that's what you've got in your squad, you use it.
Exactly. Totally agree. And you just got to buy with it as well. But we have got a good team there, got a good squad. We still win games, but we definitely need a striker, and January Turan would be one of them as well, which can make a huge difference when you've got Isak to come back as well, when he's come back for a 5-string. Got some comments, by the way, it's only go backwards. Big up to Clone Lad, big up to you, mate. Hope we had a great Christmas. Match performance yesterday, it was indeed. And big up to Mike and Mag, and hope you're okay. Can we see Wilson coming straight back in for Leeds? I hope we do, and let's be real. I mean, we could do with him as well. And or save him for the Arsenal game, perhaps, and give Chris Wood another run in the game as well. And if you'd like to come and have your say, guys, then just click on the link as well. It's on top of the chat, and then click on that. And if you'd like to become a member, it's 99p. If you like to super chat us, then just click on the $sign, give your channel's worth. And if you like to hit subscribe to my channel, click on the subscribe button as well, John Sinclair TV. And if you like to hit the like button, that'd be fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, so on to the game. I mean, we started well, right? We got a penalty in the second minute when Joelinton got brought down by Amate as well, which Norwich, I tell you something, like, Leicester just, try to play it from the back. We pressed them, and they made a ball something as well, Tony. I mean, the first goal was going to be crucial, and it was us after 3 minutes, and it just set on the nerves, mate.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the thing with this, John, is we went off to a fast start in this game. Within 90 seconds, I mean, that foul face, who I don't really rate, who thinks he's the next Colaccini. He's nowhere near. He couldn't even tie Colaccini's bootlaces. That's how not very good he is. He was absolutely woeful. I mean, that pass he did straight into the path of Joelinton. And then Daniel Amati brought him down. Penalty. Knew it was a penalty all day. So he basically sold his own defender short. Chris Wood steps up, puts a penalty away. Brilliant. And a few minutes later, Almiron's on the touchline. He's got the ball, shifts onto his left foot. Leicester City players are going to sleep or not doing their homework, realising that Almiron's right foot doesn't really work. He's got to shift it to the left. Comes inside. 1-2 with Bruno. Bruno, beautiful ball through to Almiron, who lovely engaged it just into the back of the net. Absolutely brilliant. And it was 2-0, and you thought, right, okay, we're on the way with this now. I thought, I'm going to see this go to probably, this could end up being, 4 or 5-0 at this rate that we were playing. And then Joelinton had a chance. He sort of had to get past Danny Ward, and Danny Ward just got a foot out in time to put that out for a throw-in. And you could see on Joelinton's face, he weren't happy about it. He was really frustrated because he thought if he'd got onto that ball, he could have put it in from where he was. But then he got the chance to redeem that, and we got that corner. Great corner from Trippier as usual. And who was there? Big J7 with a head. Bang, in the back of the net. He rose like a salmon. Bang, in the back of the net. Thank you very much. 3-0. And you pretty much knew then, game over for Leicester. Yes, they had a bit of a fight back against us. But other than that, that first shot on target for Leicester didn't come till the 82nd minute from Dewsbury Hall, which basically was just it was an easy save for Nick Pope. But after all, I mean, yeah, we should have probably scored more. But you know what? 3-0, 3 points, clean sheet. What more do we want? Then we're happy with that. Yes, the lads might be disappointed didn't score more goals. Eddie Howe may have said, yes, okay, we've got the win, but there's things in that performance he wasn't happy with and he wants to sort it out. But then that's Eddie Howe. He doesn't, if something's not working, he wants to put right and he'll put it right. I did say last week, Almiron fluffed that chance against Bournemouth, but I said the next chance Almiron gets, that's in the back of the net. And I was absolutely spot on as well. I was right because you got that chance and it's in the back of the net. I said Almiron will be in double figures by the middle of January. And then I sort of thought, okay, hang on. But then before the Chelsea game, he was on 8 goals. Yesterday, he scored his 9th. Scores on Saturday. He's got 10 goals before the end of this calendar year.
Yeah, 9 goals this season. And, the second goal, you got to go back to the second goal, Tony. I mean, Bruno ran about 50 yards just to be, he's passed, played a lovely 1-2. But the Leicester defence were absolutely appalling. I mean, here's a lad walk through us behind that goal, right? And they walked through that, unbelievable, right? And the Leicester fans went mental with that kind of defending, do you know what I mean? And I'll tell you something now, right? I mean, if Leicester carries on like that, they could be banging big trouble again. They could be back in the relegation dogfight, but that's not our problem. But I thought the defence again was outstanding again. Kieran Trippier doing Kieran things. Dan Burn, did I have to do? our back two of Fabian Sheard, Sven Botman, again, were outstanding, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, Botman, what can you say? I mean, he's been an absolute revelation since he's come to the team. I mean, Chelsea fans were laughing, saying, I don't know why you signed him. He was useless against us in the Champions League. Well, not just Botman, unfortunately, it was the Lille team that weren't that great. So can't just blame it all on Botman. I think a lot of Premier League teams are probably looking now and thinking, why the hell didn't we get him? You know? In my eyes, yes, Van Dijk's a good centre-half, but I think he's slowing down now. I think Botman's much better than Van Dijk in my eyes. Him and Cher have got such a great partnership at the back. And it's not just a back four, John, it's a back five because you include Nick Pope in that back five as well.
Yeah.
And if we brought in a central defensive midfielder, you could then call it a back six.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what as well, right? I mean, that back four are settled. I mean, they don't chop and change. They just keep on it every single week. And that's what I love about Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? If you can keep that every single week and defend properly with no injuries, no suspensions, I tell you something, right? We could actually go on and win the title, which I'm going to comment to later on. Got some comments on. I've got Steve for Wall Send. He's a Facebook user. He said, Boozy will be waiting on a phone call. Hope they appoint him because I hate Norwich. All the best, lads. Thank you, Stephen. I've got Gary as well. Hi, Gary. I thought we took the foot off the pedal in the second half, but we got the 3 points, which is the main thing, lads. Gary, we did in the second half. We've done enough for the first half. That's why we don't want to force ourselves. Do you know what I mean? We just asking Leicester the questions, and it just didn't come up with the answer at all whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? And I thought we defended so well, we tackled well. I thought Sean Longstaff did all right. And also, as well, I thought Joelinton had an absolute stunning game again, right? Tackles, passing, running as well. And I tell you what, we talk about Joelinton, right? This guy, I've run out of applause for this guy. Do you know what I mean? He has been absolutely outstanding again, Tony, this season.
Yeah, Joelinton's improved. That's why, because Eddie Howe. And,
yeah,
it's exactly what we do. I mean, Gary's saying, yeah, we took the foot off the pedal. But as I say, if you go back to Eddie Howe's interview, he did say he's not happy with some parts of that game yesterday and he wants to iron that out. So, and also with what Blake is saying, we've got an extra 48 hours of recovery ahead of Leeds because Leeds are playing on Wednesday, which is very important. And remember, it's going to be the first time that Eddie Howe's come up against Jesse Marsh. So, and the thing is, though, John, the way we're playing, and if you go back to the Southampton game, we didn't play great that day, but we won that game 4-1. In the 4 shots on target were all goals. But we didn't have a great game that day. If we can go out there and spank teams 4-1 with not playing great, just think once we're on top form, it's frightening, John. And there must be teams thinking, they must look at that fixture list of teams and thinking, oh, we've got Newcastle, shit, what we're going to do now? We're going to have to play against these.
Yeah.
But there must be, John, I mean, even Brendan Rodgers came out yesterday and said, Newcastle are in the race for the title now.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely right. I mean, we are in a title race. We don't fear no one at all whatsoever, yeah? I said on your other show earlier on that if you're going to make some signings, do it now. Do it next month. Get the players who should be getting in the summer and bring them in now. Do that and really go for it. That's what we got to do. I'd rather do it now, wait till the summer. They're going to think, Europa League, I don't want to be in the Europa League, I would be Champions League, right? I'd rather get the signings in now, get them in, and push on for the Champions League. We've got to put teams under pressure. We've got to put Arsenal under pressure, yeah? Man City under pressure. I mean, I said on your other show, we got Spurs, Liverpool, United, and Arsenal's all got to come to St. James's. And I tell you what, we win those games at home. They don't want to fancy, they don't want to come and face us at St. James's Park. I tell you something, Tony, win those games, we're right in it. We are right in it, mate.
We are right in it, John. And remember, we got an important game next Tuesday against Arsenal.
Yeah.
Win that game, and that does put a statement of intent out there. I mean, we got beat off Liverpool. People are worrying, is our bubble going to burst? What happens if our bubble bursts?
Yeah.
Well, we've already had that where we lost at Liverpool, but we got back on track. Okay, games against Palace and Bournemouth, they weren't great.
Yeah.
But we went up till the World Cup. From that Liverpool game in the Premier League, we went 10 matches unbeaten.
Yeah, man.
So we lost one game, but then went on a run of 10 unbeaten games.
Yeah.
So if people are worrying about what's going to happen if we lose a game, we've already shown that reaction. We come back and we just go out and win and draw games. And that's what it's all about, picking up points. If you pick up 1 point away, 3 points at home, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But you'd rather get 3 points in every game. But sometimes you have to settle just for 1 point. But at the end of the day, as I say, John, we're now 11 games unbeaten in the Premier League since that Liverpool defeat.
Yeah.
And don't worry if we do lose one game, because there is going to be bumps in the road along the way.
Yeah.
And we know it's going to happen. But it's how we pick ourselves up and carry on in the next game. That's what matters the most. And yes, against Palace, like I say, that was the week after that Liverpool. That was after that Liverpool defeat. We didn't play particularly well. Yes, Isak should have scored. We know that, and it wasn't the greatest game. We were robbed of a goal as well in that game. And then we didn't play well against Bournemouth either. But we got a draw out of that game. Put it right. After the international break, we then went to Fulham and smashed them 4-1. And remember, we then beat Brentford 5-1. We then went in Tottenham's home backyard and beat them 2-1 as well. So, you know, the big six are frightened, John, of us. And like I say, any fans out there, if we do lose a game, please don't panic, because I'm telling you now, we will sort it out the next game, because Eddie Howe will make sure, however we lose that game, he will analyse that, make sure the players for the next game are on song for the next game.
Absolutely.
I don't fear going to Arsenal next week. I think we can go down there and beat Arsenal, if I'm honest, John.
We'll see about that. Well, I've got Jack. He is from Fan Whistle, and he's a good guy. He's a Leicester fan. Good afternoon, Jack. How are you doing? You okay?
Afternoon, boys.
Hi, Jack. All right. Well,
you're right, mate.
Yeah, you're right, but you're probably not after yesterday's result.
No, not happy after that.
Well, Jack, I was at the match yesterday and went to KP. Fantastic thing, by the way. I think the fans are great. And what went wrong with your team? I mean, finished Leicester 0, Newcastle 3. What went wrong with your team? Just take it away, mate.
What went right, John? You know, we got into all sorts of bother defensively in like the first 10 minutes. For one of them sides who like to start off slow and don't like teams who press us, but Newcastle, they came, they pressed, they caused us all sorts of issues in them first 15 minutes. Could have been about 4 or 5, you know. Newcastle had a lot of chances, and Leicester, you know, passing that out from the back, it don't help for going from goalkeeper to defender. Newcastle pressed with 2 or 3 players at a time, and you're thinking, hold on a minute, what's going on here? And we couldn't really clear the ball as quick as we wanted to. You know, we're a sort of team who allow ourselves to have time on the ball, but Newcastle are one of them teams this season who don't allow any team to have any space, any movement, anything. They'll push you back in it, and that's what happens. You know, you caused us so many problems. The penalty came from the problems that you caused. Amarty bringing down Joelinton and Chris Wood, the former Fox, you know, put it away. I said Chris Wood would score before the game, and it was right. And then Almiron, you know, fantastic player. He scored more goals this season than he scored in his whole Newcastle career. So, yeah, I think Almiron, classic player. He's kept up this form now from before the World Cup. He ripped that Leicester defence, didn't he, to make it 2-0. And then the corner came in the back end of the first half, and Joelinton scores. And, yeah, 3-0. Leicester are dead and buried at that point, aren't they, John, to be fair? Credit to Newcastle. They worked hard. They played us off the park. And, you know, Newcastle are a good side. They're a different breed from when Eddie Howe first took over last season. They're an incredible side to watch. And credit to your fans yesterday. You know, they sang from the first minute to the end of the game. And, yeah, Newcastle, a fantastic side yesterday and fully deserved the 3 points because we were poor, very poor.
You were, and that Wout Faes as well. Yeah. He reminds us of Colicini, and our fans are singing "Shaq Colicini." I was expecting a lot more from him yesterday. I mean, Tony
same.
don't rate him. Tony don't rate him at all. Tony, you got any questions for my guy?
It was a poor pass from Fast. I don't know what he was trying to do with that, but he's that centre half in trouble, and Marty, and then obviously when he tried to get the ball, he clattered Joelinton, and it was a definite penalty.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But you just look at that game yesterday, and I was surprised Maddison wasn't in the team. But the thing is, Maddison was training in the World Cup. That's the thing. He was on the training pitch. So how's he come back with an injury now? And yes, you left him out with the MK Dons team, but maybe that was just resting him, I thought. Do you think the reason that Maddison was kept out yesterday, is that because they're looking to sell Maddison in January, and maybe not just to us, but anybody? And do you think that was a thing maybe from the owners that's gone to Brendan Rodgers to say, look, we don't want him playing because we want to sell him in January. If he gets injured now, we won't get the money in January that we want from him, because in the summer, he'll only have a year left on his contract. What do you think of that one?
The Maddison situation, he got a knee injury against West Ham just before the World Cup. And then Southgate took him to the World Cup to keep the media quiet, didn't he? Like, he's some good guy who actually picked Maddison on form and all that, which we both know that he didn't. Maddison should have played games. He obviously had a bit of a knee injury at the start of the World Cup where he didn't actually play in the game against Iran. Southgate knew that. And then, he come back fit, didn't he? Later on in the World Cup, he could have potentially played against France, but we all knew Maddison weren't going to play as Foxes fans in this World Cup. But yeah, you talk about the MK Dons game. I thought we were just resting him, obviously, here on holiday at that point. So he'd had time off. And then we come back to yesterday's game and Maddison's not in the team. And you're thinking, well, what's going on here then? He's had his time off. Surely he's got to be fit to play against Newcastle. And there were a lot of questions yesterday. And I think Leicester fans questioned it. Is it a Newcastle move? Is it the injury? Because they're claiming it's a knee injury, innit? But they're not sure on a time frame of how long he's going to be out for. Is that now putting doubts on Leicester now, thinking, you know what, Maddison could actually be sold in January or something along them lines? Because Newcastle have been heavily linked, haven't they, John, from the summer? And Newcastle would probably be considering to pay the 60 million that Leicester City want this January. So it's a player that Eddie Howe wants, isn't it? Newcastle, they're going places, aren't they? And if they met Europe this season, it's going to catch a lot of the stars' eyes, not just Maddison, but other players as well around the world. So, yeah, I think the Maddison situation, when you looked at him on the pitch yesterday after the third goal went in, he looked kind of like, oh, what's going on here? You didn't know what going through his head at the time. But, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of speculation now and rumours, aren't there, to the whole, Maddison didn't play, is he off in the summer? So we're going to see that, John, going into January, I'm afraid.
Could be the fact. It could be the fact that maybe we've agreed a deal with Leicester to take him in January, and maybe he's having a medical in all this. And it could be a gentleman's agreement. Could be a gentleman's agreement between the two clubs that he doesn't play now until he comes to us in January. So there's a lot of factors. You can read a lot into it, but it just seems a bit strange how
it does.
It comes to the first Premier League game on Boxing Day, but he can't play because of a knee injury. And it's like, is it really a knee injury? We've seen this before with clubs where they've said the player's got an injury, but then in a couple of weeks later, the player's been sold and gone elsewhere. So sometimes it can be mind games. So we'll just look into that, whatever you think. It might be Brendan Rodgers' way of appeasing the fans to say, look, he has got an injury. So fans are thinking, all right, okay, he has got an injury. But on the other hand, a lot of us fans aren't stupid and we know what goes on. You look at Liverpool, they've got Gakpo, they've agreed the deal. He's going to have a medical, and then obviously January the 1st he can be registered. The same with Wolves. They've took Cunha and they've signed him, but they can't obviously process the paperwork until Sunday the 1st of January. So deals can be done, and maybe that's what's happened. Maybe we have done the deal with Leicester. I'm not saying we have, but I'm just saying, if we have done the deal with Leicester, then it'll make more sense why Maddison didn't play yesterday. But then it may be a genuine thing. He might have something wrong with his knee. Who knows? And I suppose you'll know more once your club see anything, because I mean, obviously, we don't obviously know much from your club, but I mean, you'll know more from being a Leicester fan, and no doubt the club will say, yes, he's had the scan and he's got this wrong with him and he's going to be out for a while or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, there was an post yesterday. I thought I'd bring it up with you on Twitter. I don't know if you've seen it. It was Bruno Guimaraes, was it, holding the man of the match, and then someone turned around and said, well, it's a bit of a conspiracy. Madison's behind him, and then Madison all of a sudden like that tweet what the Newcastle fan put. So, and now Newcastle fans are going to check back on that tweet that he's liked, and then obviously now he's removed it in it. So I don't know if he's kind of like winding Newcastle fans up or what, but yeah, like you say, Tony, it's one of them where managers will sit there and say they're injured. Look at Wesley Fofana to Chelsea. You know, we had that issue with Wes where he's injured and he'll come back. But then look at it. Oh, I'll sit in the stands. Not interested in playing for your club. I want Chelsea's move. I want Champions League football. And it's a footballing basis, isn't it, boys? It's one of them where players want to progress in their career and they want to win things at the highest of levels. And Madison's one of them players who's got massive ambition. And if Leicester can't give him European football for next season and Newcastle can, then it's something that they're going to be more offering to him then, and it's going to be more appealing.
I mean, the Madison thing, if you look at Madison, right, he's probably watching our games and he knew he had been linked with us in the summer. But he's probably looking at our games and he's probably thinking, the way Newcastle play, the way Eddie Howe plays, he's probably thinking, I want to play like that. I want to be part of that. Because the thing is, yes, he's a quality player, Madison. Yep. You know, he's got great creativity, he scores goals, he can play in centre attacking midfield, or he can play right wing. We know the talent he's got. Eddie Howe could push that extra 20-30% out of him and make him into an even better player than he actually is now. So it's kind of one of those. And maybe Madison's, we don't know. I mean, like you say, maybe Madison's gone behind the scenes and said, look, I want to go to Newcastle in January, and will you let me go? Because he had a contract on the table, but he's never signed it.
He's got about a year left on his contract now, yeah.
He's got 18 months, hasn't he, from January? So I kind of think if he's not signed the contract, and that's been on the table since September or whatever, then you kind of look at that and think, well, he wants to go. And maybe he said to Leicester, look, I would rather not play, I would rather go. And maybe Leicester have said, you know what, yeah, you can go. And like somebody said there in the chat, Davey Dirk, and he said, Madison wasn't even wearing the team colours yesterday. He wasn't even in a tracksuit or nothing, was he? So he was just in a coat with a scarf on and
with his Disney clothes on.
Yeah.
I'll go through this comments, guys, as well. I know we'll get back to that in a bit, James, in a bit. Afternoon, lads. Great win yesterday. Let's back up on Saturday. Extra 48 hours to call in the Leeds as well. Fortress St James's Park and Bladley added as well. Yeah, spot on Tony scored Feast and Force this season and not even being our best. And Delahaye right now shares 1 yellow away from suspension. I didn't know that. If that is the case, he needs to be careful. If he gets spotted at Leeds, he misses the Arsenal game. That's the first time Eddie's won a game at the KP. That's the first I heard. Thanks for that stat. Good afternoon to Davey. Cheers. Thank you very much indeed. If you like the video, like what you see, 33 people watching live. Hit that like and subscribe button if you are new. Can you imagine if you actually got Emery? I think things would have been very different. Howard's done an incredible job. Hats off to him. He's an incredible coach. He gets the best out of everyone. That's some Blakey game. Big up to Blakey. Here's not wrong with Madison. He is gone. That's from Aaron. Wow. When you play at Arsenal, if we win, I hope Shearer and Wright are match of the day because Shearer bits. Totally agree. Madison, what's the word? Team colours. That's what Tony's mentioned. Just because a player's not playing don't mean he's off. So that's old Aggie noob gamer. Please hit the subscribe button, my friend. If you can, that'd be brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. And welcome to Abroad and Rennie. I hope you find it. And I don't think you are, mate. I like Rennie. He calls me sure as a big Leicester fan. And big up to Koch. Koch, please hit the subscribe button as well. That'd be brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Emptying stadiums, that's for R4. You know who he is, Jason, do you? You don't know, do you? Tony doesn't know. Yeah, hit the subscribe button. I've got Haley. Big up to Haley, by the way. If you want to have your say, then come and click on the link, have your say, and then you can tell us about the game. So see you later, Jack. Let's go back. Oh man!
Do you know what? Right, we as football fans sing it to each other, don't they? Let's be honest. Everyone get battered, you know. It's a banter thing, isn't it? You know, it don't mean no seriousness unless you are getting battered every week. But we had a good run of form. You know, but with Leicester, it's kind of like we didn't really play the top 10, did we? We're just the Wolves, Evertons, West Ham, and Forest and Leeds. You know, teams who are struggling down there who can't potentially hit a barn door for goals. And now we played an actual team like Newcastle, who's really on form, John, and they're playing the way they are. You know, I thought it'd be a close game yesterday. I thought Leicester would actually turn up and give you a right good game. But I was shocked yesterday. Going 3-0 down the first half, I thought, nah. And then second half, it was just a case that we had near chances, but it just didn't look like we were going to score at all. And yeah, like I say, credit to Newcastle fans and Eddie Howe and that yesterday, because I thought you were all fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your kind words, mate. And you know what it is, right? I'll talk about the second goal in a bit. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. Of course, that header. Thank you very much indeed. Brendan Rodgers, beautiful, beautiful human being. That's in Clark. I hope you win against Liverpool on the 31st of December. That's a big game. I think Liverpool, they're on the way back, Tony. I've got a funny feeling, and I hate to see it. I think Liverpool's going to be on the way back.
Yeah, they're starting to crank it back up and start to win games, but then, you know, things can happen. Football's a funny old game, as Greavesy once said. But yeah, I mean, Tottenham could be in danger of losing that top 4 place because the way we're playing at the moment, and obviously Jack is a Leicester fan, so he's totally neutral from Newcastle. I mean, the way we're playing, Jack, we must be putting fear into a lot of teams. Teams must be looking at their fixture list thinking, oh, Christ, we've got Newcastle next. We're not going to look forward to that. And I mean, you know, Leeds have got to come to us on Saturday. It's St James's Park. They're not playing well at the minute. And I think we'll be back down to third on Wednesday because I can't see Leeds beating City. I know they beat Liverpool, but I can't see them beating Man City.
I cannot.
But I think when they come to us, I mean, it's going to be the first time Jesse March has come to St James's Park and up against Eddie Howe as well. I can see us beating Leeds, and I can see us beating them comfortably as well. I mean, what's your take on how we play so far with our football? Is it breathtaking?
How do I answer it? No. When Eddie Howe took over, you lot had 0 points in it from the first 8 games. You know, Newcastle look poor. They're not the side they was last season. They're a different animal now, aren't they? You know, Bruno Guimaraes, you know, I like him. Fantastic player. Joelinton, he's not a striker. You guys knew that. But now he's in this new position, yeah. He looks an absolute threat. And then Almiron, complete different player. He were outstanding yesterday, Almiron, you know. I like Maxi. Good wing off breeze. He blows hot and cold, doesn't he? Let's be honest, he's not consistent enough. But if you look at your front three yesterday, fantastic. I thought the football, what Newcastle have been playing all season, boys, you know, they've been fantastic, haven't they? They're full of energy, team spirit, confidence. They chase the ball down. They work hard. They might not have the best of players, but they are damn hard working side. And that's what that's what I want to see more from Leicester of, John. What you guys did to us yesterday, that's what we did to teams in 2015-16 when we won the title. You did exactly to us yesterday what we used to do to teams back then. And yeah, Newcastle, a fantastic club. I like Newcastle. I've got family in Newcastle who support Newcastle. So yeah, they gave me the banter yesterday and that we'd lost. So they'll take that then. We'll see on the other reverse fixtures. But yeah, Newcastle, great club. They're now being run the way they should be. They've got ambition. They've got desire. Why can't they go and get European football this season? They're on an incredible run. And yeah, I think Newcastle really dark horses now, aren't they, for them Champions League places? yeah, so I think you're playing some great football. Eddie Howe, very underrated manager. He has been for years, and he's one who could potentially manage England in the future. But yeah, fantastic club, fantastic football, and yeah, I really wish you guys all the best for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, mate. I mean, yeah, I mean, we are a totally different animal. And like I've always said to people as well, we're not that easy 3 or 4-0 win anymore now.
No.
And Man City's the only team that scored the most goals against us, which is 3. I mean, Liverpool beat us through the referee because the referee added an extra minute and a half, which didn't need to be added on. So Liverpool got away with it that night. Had we got that draw against Liverpool, then we would have won that game and we would be unbeaten so far. I mean, we're going great guns in the cups as well. You've got to come to us in January for the quarter-final. Obviously, you're not looking forward to that as well. You know, but the thing is, I mean, a lot of people are going on about like, oh, well, Eddie Howe and Kevin Keegan. Well, can't really compare them because under Eddie Howe we're more defensive as well. We're keeping clean sheets more than we did under Kevin Keegan. I mean, Kevin Keegan's philosophy was, and even if you hear John Beresford, he's talking about it as well. He says, all he used to say was, score one more than the opposition. And John Beresford said one day in the dressing room, he turned around and he said, yeah, but what about the defensive side, Kevin? What we're going to do for that? And he went, don't worry about the defensive side. He says, don't worry if we concede 3. Let's just go out there and score 4. He says, I don't care about defensive tactics. Just get out there and score the goals. I want to play attacking football. But with Eddie Howe, it's totally different. We can not only press, but we can get back and defend in numbers as well. And we're proving that. And your chipper sights are back on, John. And also, and also not only that, but Nick Pope. I mean, a lot of people laughed at us signing him for 10 million, but I'll tell you what, I know you got rid of Kasper Schmeichel for £1 million, but I bet you wish you had Nick Pope in your goal.
Nick Pope was one that, you know, I said, like, when Leicester was getting rid of Schmeichel to Nice, it was one that we hoped we'd get someone like Nick Pope. He'd be a Schmeichel replacement. He's a top-class goalkeeper, Nick Pope. He's very good, and he potentially could be England's number 1. He's big. He demands his box, and you know he's a good goalkeeper. He's one of the best in the league, Nick Pope, and he did well at Burnley. You know, when he first started at Burnley, I remember when he first played against Leicester, he was unstoppable. You couldn't get past him, but he uses his height advantage to his advantage, doesn't he, lads? And he's got a very good defence ahead of him as well. Botman, you know, demanding, top defender. You know, he's not lost a game yet, has he, for you lot? Trippier, the experience and all that. So he's looking good as well. He's helping that defence. And Dan Burn as well, a left back of his size. You know what I'm saying? And no one would think he'd be a left back. He'd be a centre half or a striker. You won't think a Peter Crouch looking player like him would be a left back, but he's done good, you know, Dan Burn. He's big, he's strong, and he can defend it. And that's what he did exactly at Brighton, and that's what you got your money for. That and Newcastle's signings have been very good signings. They've not just been, oh, this one in this player here. It's just been players that you actually want.
Yeah.
John, I think you muted, mate.
Yeah, you're muted, John.
Sorry about that. I'm here. But what am I like? I mean, look, at the end of the day, I was having to loot him, you know what I mean? I thought, but we heard you, man. We heard you. Good comments, man. Good comments.
Can I just say, John?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got this Rennie in the chat, a Leicester fan, and you know, to be honest with you, John, it's getting a bit boring now. I mean, putting on like, I'm really paid when Newcastle oil money. Right, hang on, let's get one thing straight, first of all, right?
No thanks to you, by the way. Not you, Tony.
Stop getting at our owners, because these owners have come into the club. They are doing a great job for our club. Not just for our club is Newcastle United, but they're also doing a great job in the city and the community as a whole. Now, it may be oil money to you, or that's how you like to think it's oil money, but we haven't gone out there and bought this £100 million player, that £100 million player, that £80 million player. We have got some astute signings in. We have done our business brilliantly and carefully. We went out and we got Bruno for like 38 million quid, which is an absolute bargain. We got Botman for 35 million. Okay, we've spent 63 million on Isak. That's the highest we've spent. But then we brought the likes of Trippier in for 12 million, Byrne for 12 million. We brought Wood in for 25 million because he was the only striker of the release clause at the time, and we needed one because we had no Callum Wilson. Mm-hmm. It's not just the fact of the oil money. Also, give some of our players credit that was there before Eddie Howe came to the club. Joelinton, Almiron. These players have improved under Eddie Howe. Willock's getting better under Eddie Howe. So it's all right to spout off about saying it's all oil money. It's not just all oil money because it's not just spent by the Saudis or Amanda or Jamie Rubin, because like I say, we have players in that club that were there before Eddie Howe walked through that door. Eddie Howe has just improved those players tenfold. He's moved Joelinton into midfield area because he identified that was Joelinton's best position. He's made Almiron into a world beater, you know. And so, in a way, Rennie, please start getting your facts right before you come on here slating our club. You know, yes, we beat your team fair and square yesterday. You had more possession than us, but at the end of the day, we scored the 3 goals. We won the game, and you just need to really let it go now, because as Newcastle fans, we are just finding it boring now. We're still getting pundits doing it. I mean, Chris Scudder yesterday on ITV News, he says Newcastle have beat Leicester. He says, but then when you've got a mound of money from the Middle East, what do you expect? And I thought, well, come on, mate, this is getting boring now. And this is from Chris Scudder on ITV News. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, you know, why don't they give it a rest? Why doesn't Man City get all this hassle? You never hear Man City owners being called out. I mean, we've just had a World Cup in Qatar. I mean, look at this disgrace we've had in that World Cup. I mean, LGBT plus communities have gone over there. People getting told to remove rainbow hats because they're not welcome in the stadium. And that's an ex-professional women's player as well from Wales. Absolutely disgusting. Mm-hmm. Can't wear a One Love armband, but you can wear one that says no discrimination. What's the difference? You know, should never have been held in Qatar. And I thought, and I'll tell you now, Qatar is worse than Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry. And that's my rant. Sorry, John, but I just had to put that there. Because I'm starting to get really, really paid off with it, John.
100%. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, you know what I mean? The comments like that, I'm sorry. I thought Leicester got taught a footballing lesson yesterday. There's levels to this game, exactly. We got the Jules after into you, and I hope you're okay. As for just coming on the last show, but thank you very much indeed. We do. Yeah, we've gone for that. He's saying Manchester's doing the title. If you get strikers not made for Barcelona Wood, we could win a title. And no Wilson, no Isak, no problem. Can you imagine Spurs like Kieran and Son? Was nice to see the Scousemackens get beat too. That's endearing. I tell you what, they're in real trouble, by the way. Let's be real. Foxy, let's look stale. Needs professional. Keeping not good enough. Pereira injury prone. Tielemans happy to leave. Madison also. Pratt, no consistency. Amati's not a centre half. And Didi shelled himself. What's your take on that, mate? Cheers.
That's a big call, isn't it? Let's be honest, right? I don't think Luke Thomas is high Premier League level. Let's be honest. I'm not a Luke Thomas fan when it comes to Leicester. I think you bullied him yesterday, like every other team have bullied him in the league when he has played against them. I mean, the only team he didn't get bullied by was Mo Salah at Liverpool, which we beat them last season at KP 1-0. So I think with Leicester, we've still got a youngish squad, haven't we? Barnes and Thomas, Danny Ward. You know, he wasn't a Schmeichel replacement, was he? Let's be honest. You know, he'd never really played many games for Leicester, or a handful of appearances in the cup. But you want a goalkeeper who's played games as well as just cup games, innit? But when you got a keeper like Schmeichel ahead of you, then you know I don't think you're going to get much of a sniff. But with Leicester, Dennis Pratt yesterday got injured. there was reports to him going to Torino on loan, but I don't think that's going to happen now due to his back injury. Jamie Vardy, he's not getting any younger, is he, John? But he's still got it. He's still going. He kind of like came on yesterday and did a job. He did more than what Patson Daka did yesterday, I thought. And, you know, I don't think Patson Daka's a Jamie Vardy replacement, if I'm honest with you, John.
Yeah.
I still think Jamie Vardy's better than Patson Daka, even though Jamie Vardy's 35. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
I do.
Tillemans, what can I say about Yuri? He's done wonders for the club. He scored some really important goals. And, yeah, there's still talks of him going to Arsenal, aren't they? He's out of contract at the next summer, so we'll see what happens there. He's not agreed on a contract with Leicester yet. Is that maybe him looking at different options, or where Leicester finish at the end of the season? Who knows? Because teams can snap him up for a free. The defence, Wout Fast done fantastically since he's come in. Yesterday was his first game he played badly. You guys were obviously calling him a shit Colaccini yesterday. The Newcastle fans. I heard it loud and clear. Then you were talking about Colaccini and this, that, and the other with someone else's wife, but that's another show. But Daniel, you know, I think he's done well to fill in. He might not be a centre back because he wasn't brought to be a centre back. He's just filled in because we haven't got Johnny Evans in there. Kagalar, Soyuncu, Ivor, Vestergaard's not good enough. So I think Amarty's done all right, but yeah, there's additions now that Leicester really need to go and spend money and bring in better players, because, you know, some of the players are, you could say, not at the level that Brendan Rodgers wants them to be. But Samore yesterday, he got bullied by Newcastle, didn't he? You know, and Didi came on, did a better job. He brought the strength to that midfield yesterday, didn't he? Wilfred Ndidi in that second half came on, challenged Newcastle and battled Newcastle hard, and that's what I like to see. That's what I want to see from the centre defensive midfielders, John. You know what I mean? The ones who protect the defence and get stuck in. But yesterday, we lost that midfield battle in the first half. We conceded 3 goals, and it was game over before the second half had even began. So I just think Leicester need reinforcements in January now. We need to sign. We've got money to spend, according to Brendan Rodgers, but we've got to bring the right players in. If we don't bring the right players in, then we could end up how we started it the first half of the season, innit? You know what I mean? Where first 8 games wasn't great, and yeah, if you keep the same team for January going onwards to the end of the season, then, you know, you're going to keep looking over your shoulder with Forest there, West Ham, Southampton, and teams like that who are down the bottom. See, Leicester are not safe yet, John. You know, we've still got a big second half of the season to play, and obviously we've got the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup to play against you lot, which I think will be a terrific tie. It's a different competition, John. You know, it's a very different competition, the Carabao Cup. It's anybody's. And, you know, it's a one now where Leicester want to get revenge on Newcastle for that defeat yesterday. But we're still going to come to you lot later on in the season as well, at James's part. So, just
last game of the season as well. Last game of the season as well.
Oh, is it last game, is it?
Last game, last home game of the season. So let's hope you let us win that game. So we might win a title, you never know.
It might be for a Champions League place, John, and we beat you.
I hope that's the case. Let's go over this for comments as well, because I'm overloaded before I ask you another question, and Tony as well. Daka never gets a fair run of games either. One game in and next each. Almost impossible for him to get consistency. Vestergaard, awful signing too. Worried for Brendan. Absolutely. And hey to Truls. Hope you're okay, Truls. One of me mods. And hi to you as well. And we got one from Haley B. I'm going to call her Haley B. And the question, Leicester's going to be stuffed when Madison goes to Newcastle. As you also added, got the religion tissues ready for you, Jack.
Madison's a crucial player for Leicester. He's one of our best players. He's our creative player, isn't he? He's the most creative player in the team and one of the most creative players in the Premier League. He's assisted goals more than any other England player and scored goals as well. So, I think if Madison does go, then we need a hell of a replacement to replace him, John, because he is magnificent when he plays James Madison. He can just turn it on. You know, he's unplayable, isn't he, when he does get going, James Madison. But if he does go, then yeah, a hell of a replacement is needed, and we need to really go and spend that money wisely and get the right players in.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what it is, right? I mean, we're going through this comments again, and we've got another question as well. We're going to talk about, I thought Dak was a cheating trap, in my opinion. I thought Nipple got the ball first. The ball came off him as well. And thank you very much for that, Jules. Well said, Tony. Always going to get the jealous fans to be different. If it was their club, exactly. You know what? It's Leicester's got fantastic owners. Yeah. My condolences as well. They backed no talk, spent the money, right? And not one of our fans said out. When it comes to Newcastle United, right? Yeah. You know, like Chris Goodlas come out and say it, right? That's what we do with money. He's not selling against Man City. He's not selling about PSG. That's always got to be us. I don't know which team he supports, but I tell you what, Chris Gunner, I think you need to chill out a little bit. It's as simple as that. And thank you, Tony, and well said for earlier on. Jules chatting to Jules. There are FFP rules in place, and clubs has to be self-funding to a large extent now. So oil money is a lazy, apathetic line of abuse. Absolutely, absolutely right. You know what? I mean, you could spend up to 500 billion. It's 500 mil, and you still go and get punished for it as well, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And I mean, this is exactly what I've been saying for a little while now. It's not just the fact of it's more down to these little sponsorships. So these £1 million sponsorships we're bringing in the club go under the radar of the Premier League because they don't have to have Premier League approval. If you look at Man City, they've probably got about 100 of these, which is bringing in about £100 million a year to Manchester City. So if you look at that and base it on that as well, if we get 100 of these coming in at £1 million each, we're bringing 100 million a season at the club. And for a club to be within FFP, you've got to generate your own funds. That's why I keep saying to fans, I know they keep saying, oh, we're the richest club in the world, but we're not. We've got the richest owners in the world, but we haven't got the richest club in the world until we start generating our own money. Once we start generating our own cash in the club, then we can become the richest club in the world. But we're not there yet. But we will be one day, but not at this moment in time.
I totally agree. Going through this concept, I've got a question for Jason as well. Leicester owners are in the government of Thailand and support the junta questionable. That's Davey.
I don't really know what he means by junta.
I don't either.
I know Leicester owners have quite a lot to do with the King of Thailand and all that. You know, they got a name given to them as well, which was Sri Papa. So, yeah, like I say about these money situations, you know, John, like I say, you've got to have your own funds to run the club, haven't you, at the end of the day, you know. The Man City are owned by Sheik owners, is that right? Man City. So, yeah, they've got money as well. They'll buy every player going, in it. Man City, they've got one of the world's best teams going. That's the world's best team, isn't it? They're an expensive side as well, Manchester City. And I think with Newcastle's owners, I think it's the case that it's how the media's put things, isn't it, into perspective to make their own story. There's a lot of stories about what happened in Saudi Arabia and all that with the owner and all that, but that you don't need to bring that into like the football side of things. You get what I'm saying? It's got to be away from football. Newcastle have got to bring their own funds in to run the football club. They might have the richest owners, but like Tony says, it's about Newcastle fans just look at them as now they're the richest club. Well, they've got more money than Manchester City in it, let's put it that way. But I think Newcastle owners, Amanda and that, you know, they want the best for the football club. It's not about whether it's oil money or it's not, you know. They want to be successful. And I think that's why they brought Newcastle United, because Mike Ashley was treating Newcastle badly, innit? Let's be honest, he won't pay for transfers and all that. He won't put money into the club when it were needed. You go manager like Steve Bruce, Pardew, McLaren, all them sort of managers. You've been through it all. And yeah, I think now it's about Newcastle building a future, a platform where they can now think, well, we can be like Leicester. And I think that's Newcastle's ambition, isn't it, John? They're going to look at Leicester now and think, if Leicester can win the Premier League in 15-16, why can't we go and be ambitious like Leicester? And because I've spoke to quite a lot of Newcastle fans yesterday, and they said we want to be like Leicester. We want to have that sort of motivation like Leicester and create a story like Leicester did, which I can respect, you know. And yeah, I think that's how football should be, you know. I don't think we should look at what's happening in Saudi Arabia or what's happening in Thailand or anything like that, because that's not relevant in football at the end of the day, John. It's about the football we want to talk about and not other things. You're muted.
Mute, John.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I mean, that's twice now. I'm going to get a copyright strike soon. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And that's come from a Leicester City fan. Absolutely big up. 47 people watching live. Thank you very much indeed. One of them is Del Boy Gunnar. What's the bit and crap, mate? I hope you're okay. He's a lovely guy. Do check out his channel. He's a big gooner. I'm loving the bits. But our friendship, unfortunately, is going to go out the window next week, where we're absolutely going to be Arsenal once and for at the Emirates. We've done it last season. We can do it again. And just go for this well. I like Rodgers and Leicester.
John,
go on, Tony.
We didn't beat them at the Emirates last season, mate. We
No,
got beat St James's.
We did. We beat them at St James's. We'll do it again.
Yeah, but you said we beat them last season, so I thought you meant down at the Emirates, John. And I was going to say we haven't beat them at the Emirates.
Not since Andy Carroll got that goal. And that's a long time ago. But there's the first for everything, and we're going to hopefully be fine. I like Rodgers and Leicester. I hope they pick up and improve. Toon just didn't let them play. That's what we do now. We just press and press and press. Apologies, September by the sound. I like that Fox's fan you have on your channel, John. Very honest. Big up to Jason.
It's all about honesty, John. You know, that's what you want as a football fan. It's not about being salty that you lost to Newcastle or Liverpool or anything like that. Just be honest. You know, we lost the game to the better side yesterday, and I think that's how we should look at it and move on now. It's not about dwelling on the past result. You've got to focus on your next fixture now. You know, Newcastle outplayed Leicester yesterday, fully deserved the 3 points, and we move. You know, that's how I look at it. You know, I'm not going to be salty about it and say, oh, we could have done this and we could have done that. You know, football, it's about not living in the past. You've got to move on and focus on the future now, picking up points and hopefully picking up points against Liverpool on Friday. You know, that's the next game.
You need to bounce back very quickly. That'll not be easy at all whatsoever. And the League Cup game, go for the player rating as well. The League Cup won't be as easy to verse as yesterday was. Leicester will make sure
I don't think so.
They set the start of the game strong. I think Brendan was going to have to change the tactics as well. They don't want everything no battering like they did yesterday. We could send wooden fears. That's wooden fears to Leicester.
Now we've had Chris Wood at Leicester. He didn't celebrate yesterday, which I respect Chris Wood. I loved Chris Wood when he was at Leicester. I'm a massive fan of his. But yeah, I didn't really like him scoring yesterday. But we know what's going to happen with Woody. He always scores against Leicester. But yeah, I have massive respect for him still.
Absolutely. He didn't celebrate yesterday, Chris Wood, which I think is good, which is fantastic. He's going to Uber and then quickly realised, no, I'm not doing it. Hey, Leicester fan, that's from Jason. Steve Bruce is available. Lovely bloke, a great coach, well, you know.
Do you know what? I think I'd rather stick with Brendan Rodgers. That's like having Big Sam as manager, bringing Steve Bruce in. It's a backward step and not a forward step. You know, here's a question for you, John, and Tony. If Brendan Rodgers was to get sacked by Leicester at the end of the season and we ended up near the bottom and stuff like that, and we wanted a new approach, do you feel that there's a better manager than Brendan Rodgers who can take Leicester to where they want to be?
Let you, Tony, answer that question.
I mean, he's done well, Brendan Rodgers, for you.
Yeah.
This season's been a bit of a weird season for you under Rodgers. I think in terms of you staying in the league, I think you need to stick with probably Brendan Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you sacked him, if you were down that end of the table and you sacked him, I think you might struggle to get a manager in who could keep you in the league. So I would probably say, if you were to, say for instance, say in the next few weeks you ended up in the bottom three.
Yeah.
And your owner was thinking, oh, do I get rid now and then get somebody else in? But then you could get somebody else in who's probably not, you may think is better than Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
But then is he going to actually keep us in the Premier League? And that's the thing you've got to look at. In as much as you don't really like, as much as some of your fans probably want rid of Brendan Rodgers, but he's probably the right man to keep you in the Premier League this season. Then maybe at the end of the season, then say him on his way, and then bring somebody else in who can then start from scratch. But it's like, I think Wolves have took a risk because they've brought that Lopetegui in, and you know, this is a guy who got sacked by Spain at the last World Cup the day before that game because he was on about how he was going to go to Real Madrid. You know, so it's a funny one. I mean, how's he going to fare? He's never probably been in a relegation battle, especially in the Premier League.
Never.
So it's going to be hard for him. Yes, he got that win against Everton yesterday, but I think Wolves are going to struggle. I definitely think. I think you'll be safe this season, Leicester. If I'm honest, I think Leicester should be all right this season. But I think all in all, I think Everton will probably be the team that goes down this year because they are absolutely woeful. And Lampard is not a Premier League manager.
No.
He's had 3 jobs. He has 3 jobs, didn't he? The one he last one out was Chelsea, and he got sacked for there. Derby.
Southampton look poor as well.
Yeah, they're going down as well.
They got outplayed against Brighton yesterday. West Ham, I don't know. West Ham, for me, Moyes was doing well. He's been there a few times now, isn't he, West Ham, David Moyes? And he's now reverted back to how he played before. And now it's, I don't know, it's kind of like messed things up for a minute, John. You know, West Ham have been up around Europe for the last 2 seasons, haven't they, respectively? This season hasn't gone great for them. The fans are now turning on David Moyes. Do you feel now with West Ham, John, that a new approaching manager is needed for them to stay up this season, do you reckon? Or do you reckon David Moyes can take them away from that relegation battle?
The thing is, right, I mean, if they sacked David Moyes, who's going to come in? That's another thing.
That's what I'm saying,
they'd be better off wait to the end of the season and view the situation, like, do you know what I mean? I mean, West Ham fans are not very happy at all whatsoever. They're just so one-dimensional. They spent 180 million in the summer, right? And basically, it just hasn't improved at all whatsoever. I mean, Souček, right, first season, he was fantastic. But unfortunately, he's been found out in the Premier League, just one dimension, which is a shame. But the thing is, right, as well, I mean, with West Ham, they got some good players there. They got Jared Bowen there, Declan Rice, they've got and Paqueta. Well, Paqueta hasn't exactly set the fire like tiny at the minute, to be fair, but he has been playing well. But if we played them now, we beat West Ham, no problems at all whatsoever. So, and it's just, you know, what it is, I'm not going to lie, but I think Southampton will go, I think Everton will go, and I think it's going to be one name's going to get relegated to them as well. But I think Bournemouth might just get away with it. And I think Palace will be fine. But whoever goes down this season, right, I tell you something now, the Championship
I don't think they'll come straight back up.
Lethal. Absolutely lethal. Got comments by the way. Chrissy Woods, 28 for 31 pens. Last one he missed is 2016. Wow. Big Sam's available. Is John playing Pong? No, ping pong. Southampton, Everton, and Forest to go. I think Forest will get out of it, by the way.
I think Forest will get out of it, John. I really do.
I think they do as well.
I think they'll get out of it. It'll be Everton, Southampton, and I wouldn't rule Leeds going down either, because I don't think Jesse Marsh is that great of a manager.
I don't think he's that great. We'll beat Leeds on Saturday. Don't worry about that. And I shall be there for the game. So if you check us out and you want an autograph, just come and see us. And I'll be happy to give you that autograph. What do you think of the Poch's Leicester and Rodgers go? I tell you now, in my opinion, I do not think he'll go to Leicester. He'll go to a Champions League club. So I think Poch on a project. He will not take the Leicester job, unfortunately, unless you're in the Champions League. Let's go for a comment to I've got a good play ratings there very soon. Jules chatting to Jules. Tony, Everton, awful. Tony, they're thick in shambles. Wow, they are.
Yeah,
why
they yesterday.
Shocking. That goal they conceded at the end was an absolute disgrace from a corner, and you go and see the goal like that. Wow, fair play to Wolves, by the way, for breaking away. That's a good goal.
I bet the Gladys Street end went very quiet, John.
I bet they did. I bet they did. And I tell you what, that's another place I'd love to go to before the end of the season if I can get to get that game as well.
But John, what makes me laugh, right, about Everton is, and I don't know if I told you that because I saw this report, but do you know the Everton owners were worrying about Frank Lampard because when Southgate, after the World Cup, when he said, I don't know what I'm going to do about my future, I'm going to have to talk about it. The owners of Everton come straight out and said, oh, we're going to worry because if we lose Frank Lampard, the FA may come knocking for Lampard and take him off us. So we're going to be very worried and not have a manager anymore. So, and then they come out with a statement saying, I was so pleased Southgate's staying because at least we can keep a hold of Lampard. And I'm thinking, is Lampard really that good? Because I think he's bloody poor, if I'm honest. He got lucky at Chelsea because he had a few of those players on loan at Derby in the Championship.
Yeah.
So he knew them, and because we're on the transfer ban, he done well to keep them in Champions League place. But the season after, he got found out once the ball players in, and they knew he wasn't good enough. And I don't think he's good enough for Everton, if I'm honest. I think he's got to be going back to Championship as a manager because he ain't a Premier League manager. But he may be a Championship manager next season when Everton go down. Exactly. I'd love nothing more than to see them go down.
Exactly. But
and I tell you what, John, if they go down, they're stuffed because the amount of money they spent, the debt and everything, they're going to struggle.
Stadium as well. They got a new stadium as well on the horizon as well. So
it'd be nice for the Championship.
It would be.
And then League One.
Exactly. They won't sell out. Go for the players. Well, I blame Rodgers. The club keeps selling their best players because of the FFP, in my opinion. And sounds like Tony's done as a player with the amount of bets he has done. We don't really want to talk about that until it's absolutely put.
Well, coming on to that, if you noticed, John, he played so well yesterday, and even the commentators were saying, I think Ivan Toney's trying to do what he can now because he knows there's going to be a big ban coming around the corner soon, so he's going to play well, which is a shame. I know you said you would like him back at Newcastle United, but nobody's going to touch him now, John.
Afraid not. I'm afraid not, and that's a shame because he's a talented player, but to get charged like that doesn't look good, does it? Ooh, doesn't look good at all. Jules, clubs will go through up and down. Constant chopping and changing of managers is disrupted at the very least. She's absolutely right.
Yeah, Watford's the best one for that, aren't they?
Exactly. We see how far Village is going to last at that football club, I'm telling you. Let's be real. Southampton go, JWP will be a tasty signing. Big up to Matthew, by the way. Do his subscribe button, please, mate. If you can, that'd be brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, mate.
I wouldn't take him, John.
Probably not for 70 million. Definitely not. We need like an Enzo Fernandez. That's what I want. Enzo Fernandez or James Madison. One of the two.
If Southampton go down, John, he may not be worth that much money, but I still wouldn't have him because he's 28, John. We don't look at players that old now, unfortunately. We're looking at younger players. 28, John. And would he do it into that club? I'm not so sure, John. And I wouldn't want that risk.
Nah. Definitely not, mate. Definitely not. Good player, but he was that great. He could have gone to play for England. He wasn't even picked there at all. Well said, Tony. I think it's more of a risk for Lopetegui than for Wolves. The guy's better than relegation battles. Great results for him so far, but they have those technical Portuguese players that suits his style, and that is from Foxy. He's absolutely right. John, we won't beat them. We'll smash them, bud. Absolutely. Man U versus Forest tonight. How do you think the game will go, lads? I'd say Man U will win by 3 goals to 1. I
don't think so, John.
Hey?
I think Forest could shock Man United tonight. Remember, first game back after the World Cup. Anything can happen, John. Man U might be cold. And plus, all the Ronaldo carry on over their heads as well. I mean, just saying, John.
Fair enough. I tell you, it'll be good for us, though. If they don't win tonight, that'll be good for us, by the way. That'd be fantastic.
Wonder if Ronaldo's going to join Forest next, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, sign everybody else, and may as well sign Ronaldo.
They may as well, aren't they? Or sign Van Face and Joel ourselves while you're at it. Or any of our
you can line up with Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, another one that we escaped. We beat the back of Bullets as well, didn't we? So dodge the Bullets. So there you go. Scouts Mackhams versus the Mackhams next season. Sorry, John, but I do agree with Cheers about Pochettino. That's fair enough. Win. What's that buzzing? North South Wales be formed. I got it on Saturday anyway. I also play Brighton Saturday 5:30 at the Amex. Hopefully, Brighton will give them a right game before Tuesday. Exactly. That'll be a hell of a game. Everton escaped relegation last season by getting the teeth, lads. They did. John's been monitored by the government jewels. Could be. Young Manchester like Lampard should consider the route that really took after they failed at the big club. It's much harder to bounce back. That is to work away up, in my professional opinion. That's from Ches. Well said. Oh, man, you get bumped. Relegation is a great leveler. It makes you assess where your club's truly at, but also makes you appreciate those who hold on to your club's value true. Also keeps expectations in check. Tony, she's right, mate. She's right in shape.
Yeah, I mean, Everton buy players, right, John? I mean, they bought Dwight McNeil from Burnley for 20 million, I think it was. 1 assist all season, last season, no goals. So, if you want to stay in the Premier League, you don't buy players if Dwight McNeil's quality. You buy better quality. And if they go down, it's because of players like that. And because they've got pensioners in that team as well, like Seamus Coleman as well, who can't run for shit, to be fair.
Yeah. Do you know what it is, Tony? They've done about 500 million, right? Or something like that. And they still got Seamus. That's not my friend. They still got Seamus Coleman in the team. Did not sign it right. They brought that guy, Patterson from Nathan Patterson from Rangers, by the way. And he needs to be playing more, to be fair, because I think this guy's going to be some player, but relegation will kill his career. I just waited for Friday with Tyson could be Leicester City manager in the future. What do you think of that one, Jay?
Jamie Vardy, Leicester manager.
Jamie Vardy for manager.
Do you know what? Who knows? Who knows if Jamie Vardy would be a good manager? You know, he's got it in him, man. He's got this chat shit, get banged reputation. You know, he's one of the biggest shit houses in football. Known to man. They talk about Emilio Martinez at Aston Villa, but Jamie Vardy, you know, it's kind of like a head-to-head situation when it comes to them pair. But yeah, Jamie Vardy would make a cracking manager, John. It'd be, you know, he'd know how to sort things out. He's a strong-minded bloke, and he's got great football knowledge. So, yeah, maybe Jamie Vardy could be managing a club one day, and you know, who's to say it ain't Leicester?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a great coach, could be a great manager. He'll be a legend as well. So, so wish him all the best if he does that as well. We're going to do play ratings now before we wrap up the show, right? I mean, Tony, know how it works. I mean, you just give it a marks out of 10, and we'll go for it. And I'm going to start with Nick Pope. I mean, he had nothing to do yesterday, but when he was called upon, his distribution was good. A couple of catches there, and then I think he did all right yesterday.
Yeah, Nick Pope did fine, John. Done what he had to do. Another clean sheet again, so he gets a 9.
Okay. I was going to come on to you as well, but I know we're not going to give Leicester ratings as well, unfortunately, mate. But
that's all right.
we go straight on to, you can stay as long as you want. Like, we go in a minute, so you can stay. What about Kieran Trippier?
Yeah, another all-action display from Trippier. Does his usual attacking and defending very well, and he's obviously his leadership qualities are there for everybody to see as well. Another fantastic game from Trippier, 9 from me.
And on the other side, Dan Burn.
Yeah, I thought Dan Burn had a solid enough game. Again, did what he had to do. I give Burn an 8.
Okay, now into the defenders, Fabian Schär.
Schär, another great game from Schär. I mean, you know, he done that marauding 50-yard run, didn't he, with the ball as well? So
He did.
Yeah, I mean, good all-round performance, 9 for Schär.
And I know you're going to get some for Sven as well, and Sven Botman as well. Again, another masterclass. Grand Aerial's won twice or something like that. He's defending. For me, in my opinion, he makes the football. He makes it a beautiful game. He makes it very simple. And let's be real, the guy's 22 years old, right? And I just run out of plaudits for this guy. Take it away, Tony. I know what's coming.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's the Rolls Royce of defenders. Sven Botman. He's probably one of the best centre halves in the Premier League, if I'm honest. He's been absolutely fantastic. 22-year-old, 35 million quid. It's an absolute bargain.
Well,
You know, Liverpool pay 75 million for Van Dijk. We get Botman for half of that price. Unless not, but he had a great game again yesterday. It's not just his defending, John. It's his ball playing skills as well. He can just ping a long ball and be accurate with it. I'm just waiting for him to burst in the first goal because I think it's going to be one hell of a major celebration when he gets his first goal. And that's not far on coming. He keeps knocking on the door and he's not getting an answer yet, but he will one day. But for me, Botman gets 10. Man of the match in my eyes. Well, one of the men of the match anyway. Not man of the match, but he's one of them anyway. But yeah, definitely gets a 10 though.
What do you think of Sven Botman, Jay?
Botman's he's an up and coming player, isn't he? He's got the abilities, he's got the defensive side of his game. He's very good as a centre back. And, I thought Botman had a cracking game yesterday against Leicester. He defended well. He was strong, good on the ball, and that's what you ask for a centre half. They big up Van Dijk because he plays for Liverpool and that they call him the world's best centre half. But I think Botman is a future title-winning defender. That's what I'd call him. I'd give him a 10. To be honest, I thought he defended excellently.
Fair enough. Botman on some here. That's in John. Steptoe's got a scrap yard to run. That's an Andrew Company stay up over Yerry Mina because they are fit. Returned yesterday's scores and came off with an injury concerns again. Off the game for an injury, my God. And give the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Also check out Tony's channel too. Thank you very much indeed for Jules. 8 from Pope. Now to do Trippier 9 belt. Let's go down. Botman and 9. Vernon 8. 10 for Botman. Shah 8. 145. Wow. And bye to Eddie. Take care, mate. That's absolutely fine, mate. That's so fine. You take care, mate. Botman 10 rock solid again. And if I say bye to Rennie, Botman has a lot of games since he's played. That's correct. Jules, absolutely right. And just chat to Jules. And man to you again. And let's go straight on to the midfield. Start with your long staff, Tony.
Yeah. John, just before I was just going to say there, Jules' book, Can You Get Flew Through the Airwaves? Well, I'll tell you a quick little story. I used to work in a hospital. I worked in a hospital during lockdown, and when we had this wave from 2020 of COVID, and it was really rife. And I remember coming into work the next morning, and somebody told me, and I thought this was a joke, by the way, but then it wasn't. It turned out no, it wasn't a joke. It was absolute honesty, and I spoke to the lady from the A&E, the receptionist as well. Well, anyway, this lady come into A&E on a Sunday morning and she said, I think I've got COVID. So the receptionist says, well, why are you in the hospital? You shouldn't be coming in here. We have got a unit around the corner, so you need to get tested. She said, oh, can I ask how you think you've got COVID? And she said, yeah. She's, well, and this is true, this story, John, by the way. This isn't a joke, by the way. It's actually true, this. And she said, I caught it. I was talking to a man from China on the phone. And when I come off the phone, I developed a cough and I feel it. And I feel a bit hot now. And honestly, the woman said to her, well, if you have got COVID, you shouldn't be in here and you need to go around there. So when she went out, the whole people in there, like receptionists, porters, they were all laughing their heads off over it. How they kept a straight face, John, because I wouldn't have kept a straight face had I been in there at that time. But the thing is, though, they had to close the whole A&E department down and have it all deep cleaned just in case she had. She didn't have it, apparently, but but she went in and said, no, I was talking to a man on the phone from China, and I thought when I came off, I thought, oh, I must have COVID. I've got a cough and I feel a bit hot.
Oh, man.
And I thought it was a joke, but like I say, it wasn't a joke. It actually happened, and it just shows you there is people out there who are that silly that going like that. And but when you think, oh, that's closed the whole department down for like 3 hours while they deep clean.
Bloody hell, that's mad. That's a mad.
When Jules said that, I just thought I had to put that one in. Sorry about that, John.
Oh man, no, sorry, it's absolutely fine. I love it, man.
I thought, brilliant. Yeah, it's a brilliant one, and it'll probably make people laugh as well. It's probably made that day that now. But yeah, getting back to the serious stuff, Sean Longstaff. I thought he was all right. I mean, he's got heart there, hasn't he? And Jules laughing. But yeah, he was okay. He didn't, not the greatest, is he, Sean Longstaff? Does what he has to do. I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay, cool. And what about Joe Willock?
Joe Willock, I thought he had a great game yesterday. I thought he's full of running, full of energy. And obviously just waiting for him to get back to full going afterwards, after the World Cup and that. So, and once he starts scoring again. So I'll say for Willock, I'll give him an 8.
Okay, sounds right. Bruno in the middle.
Bruno, one excellent game he had yesterday. The game he had yesterday, questions why wasn't he playing for Brazil a lot more? Why was Fred playing over the top of Bruno? You know, they've got a manager there, Brazil, Tite. Well, he's left now.
He is.
And no doubt he's left because the guy is a titty. He is a titty. And he did make a titty of himself by not picking Bruno. And they've got out the World Cup. So, yeah. But no, Bruno was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I couldn't even, to be fair, I can't even understand why Brazil fans were annoyed that Bruno was in their squad. And I'm thinking, how deluded are you or fickle? Because at the end of the day, he's one of your best players. But yet he can't get off the bench, you know. Which as a Newcastle fan, I couldn't care less because at least he comes back to our club fit. I thought he played well. He was brilliant. His assist for Almiron. Him and Almiron have got that chemistry between them. The assist he did yesterday, he did similar. He done an assist to Fulham when Almiron scored that screamer of a goal. So they do have that telepathy between them and chemistry. So I'm going to say Bruno a 10, and he was man of the match.
Bruno, Starman then. Starman. Go with the front three now. We're going to go with Joelinton. Big link to Liverpool, by the way, according to Sunday Express. Daily Express.
Joelinton, I thought he had a great game. Another terrific game in the midfield. Did what he had to do. And I give Joelinton a 9.
Beautiful. Other side, Miggy Almiron.
Almiron, yeah, I thought he had another cracking game again, John. Great goal. But not only a great goal, also he showed his pace and his tenacity. When Kieran Trippier was out of position, he ran back and got that tackle in on the Leicester player, which was absolutely brilliant. So he shows that he doesn't just go for it as forward, but he can actually track back and defend as well, which he did do very well. So he gets 10 from me, does Almiron. And also, I just want to go back to Bruno, which I forgot to mention as well. What I liked about Bruno as well was, and you probably picked up on this as well, Jack, when he knocked that ball out for a throw, did you see the celebration he come up with? I mean, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I did.
That just shows you how much that guy is, tuned in, doesn't it?
He's black and white. He's black and white.
Passion.
And, passion. Paul Jack has to listen to all of this, so I do apologise, Jack. I'll be
listening to it all later on. So
I know. I'm on the show at 7, so he's invited anyway. He wanted to come on, so I got him on. Longstaff's the legs in the team. The lovely Jules. Jack, don't try to keep her when John flies through the comments. Unless you can learn to read in under 3, you are done for. Love you, John. Love you, so Jules. I love you lots. Love you always. Mwah. She's lovely. Longstaff, ears over the pitch. 9 for Big Jaw. And we're going to go on to Chris Wood in a second. Jules, Big Jaw 10, Amber on the 10. Longstaff's developing the proper midfielder now, and he's quite a unit as well. And 7 for Wood. John, your own mods are attacking these. However, I haven't because I'm loyal. So you can make me a super mod since I'm more decent than those 2. Absolutely. Yeah, I won't say too much because Jules, I probably see about that sort of thing. She's going to look at it sort of thing, you know. You don't want to get Jules upset, though. Oh, bless. But we've gone on. Chris Wood.
Yeah, Chris Wood, I thought, did what he had to do. Had a good game yesterday. Scored a brilliant penalty. Showed Harry Kane how you score a penalty, that's for sure. He was unlucky. He was unlucky to not get a second goal, which just went over the crossbar. But I thought, no, he had a great game yesterday, and I'll give him an 8.
Fair enough. And the subs on, we didn't come on that much. And ASM didn't come on that long. Jake and Murphy as well. And I'm definitely going to give him a standard 5. The fans, got to be a 10 for what I've seen yesterday.
Yeah, 10, John, all day.
I would say yesterday, they were magnificent yesterday.
I would say give him a 12 for just saying to FaZe, you're a shit Colagini.
Yeah. He wasn't that good, was he, yesterday? He wasn't that good yesterday. Let's be honest. We the last one were born and Reds. Do hit subscribe, mate. Thank you, man. And it's 1 at 7 because of that penalty goal. You got to have a laugh. Yeah, we got to love Jules, haven't we? She amazing. Can't believe how well we're doing. Let's get the passports out for next season, Mark. I have to agree with you, mate. I have to agree with you, man. And I'm ready for it as well. And anyhow,
well, the guy's a 10 out of 10 manager. So,
yes.
Yeah, he's doing really well, and he got his tactics right. He does his substitutions right. And yeah, spot on, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Absolutely right. I mean, I'll go along with that as well. The referee as well can be. What about the referee? I know you weren't very happy with the referee yesterday about Miggy.
Yeah, I thought the referee yesterday, with Miggy, I thought he could have let him walk across the pitch and go off and take the applause, but Jared Gillett was just throwing his weight about and wanted to say, look, I'm the ref, I'm in charge, you do it my way, and made sure he went off the pitch. But, he did give us the penalty. So I'll give him a 6 for Gillett. But one thing I want to say about referees is, what we really need to look at is, it's when you see your referee disappointed with his own game. And we saw that last night with Michael Oliver. He gave Arsenal a penalty. Then he was told by VAR, please go and check the monitor. We don't think it's a penalty. And when he went to the monitor, he checked it, realised it was headed from Cresswell. He come back on, done the thing, no penalty. But if you look at his face, he was not happy because he felt that he'd let himself down by giving that penalty in the first place. But even like Dermot Gallagher said this morning, he said, Michael Oliver should not feel hard on himself for that because he says, we know Michael Oliver's one of the best referees in the Premier League. But it's the fact is, he shouldn't be harsh on his own performance because this is where VAR works very well because VAR's came in and 100%. Said, look, it's not a penalty. And that's the good thing about it. And yeah, Michael Oliver, he's one of our own as well. And I thought he was a bit harsh on himself, but but you don't become the best referee if you're not. And correct. This, and also when you look at this, that goal Arsenal scored, that was offside. I know Saka was only just offside, but the linesman Simon Burt, who flagged him offside, the reason he was chosen by FIFA at the World Cup was because his observations are 100% every time.
I'm with you, Tony. You're absolutely right. I mean, you need to use VAR a bit more as well, in my opinion. But you know, I thought the referee, apart from that yellow card from Miggy, I thought he did all right yesterday. I thought he had a good game, but 6 for me as well, mate. It's simple as that. There's Owen Fogg. When Eddie Howe came in, I was scared. I was begging for Lampard, but guess what? I don't want Lampard anymore. And do hit the subscribe button, this Owen, mate. That'd be brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Murphy at 5, 20 bandages, Eddie 100 plus. I was skeptical towards Howe, but he did see he can prove me wrong, and boy, he did. ASM has a lot of bandages, but he runs faster than the mummy. I like that, Chris. He is brilliant. That drug is on Elton John's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Everyone wants the sticks. Great show, lads. Thank you very much indeed. And some head trolls, I was quite underwhelmed, but the gosh feels to be wrong. Listen, before I let it go, I'm going to wrap up quickly as well. Right. Let's have a look at it as well. How good would be an 8 alongside 7? Interesting fact, last comment. Interesting facts. Did you know Lampard had a genius level of Q150? I don't know what to make of the terms of management since Rooney isn't exactly known for spitting 8 arms. That's from Ches. Thank you. I will be wrong. Felt like this every time. We love it. Just love it. That's it, guys. Going to wrap it up as well because guys got to go. And before I let you go, Jack, thanks for coming on, Jack. And I'll be on your show at Landis. Can you tell the viewers where we can find you, please?
So I'm Jack from the Final Whistle. So on the Final Whistle YouTube channel, we have match previews, match reviews, match day vlogs, Premier League predictions, watch-alongs, and yeah, all football stuff. So we did a match day vlog yesterday as Leicester lost to Newcastle 3-0. Leicester got stuffed on Boxing Day. So if you're a Newcastle fan and want to see how I reacted to Leicester's defeat yesterday, go over to my channel on the Final Whistle and go and check out the Matchday vlog. Go and subscribe to the channel, hit a like on it for me, and yeah, go and check out all my content. And thanks for having me, John.
Thank you very much for coming on, mate. I'll see you at 7 o'clock tonight, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Take care. So, just give us comments quickly, so I know you got to go. And take care all. And thanks a lot for Jules for being a mod for us as well. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. If being wrong felt like this every time, I would love it. Just love it. And first time for you, thank you very much indeed, John. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much indeed. And those who do subscribe to It's All Black and White TV. So check out Tony's channel as well. And just find as well. Everyone's chatting to other people, which I think is nice. And take care for you, Jez. Thank you very much indeed. Have a great night, all. Koch, thank you. Great show again, lads. Watch Jack's P-match interview. Was all good apart from score predictions. And Jack is a great guy. He really is. And take care too, as well. Tony, can you tell the viewers we can find you, please?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at TonyTony31. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. And also you can find me, It's All Black and White TV, which is on the board behind me.
Yeah.
And I've got some great content on there. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. There's some great stuff on there. And there was a great show earlier as well. And yeah, thanks for having me on, John. I've literally got to go, mate, because I've got to go and pick the missus up from work. She's at work, so I've got to go and pick her up. But thank you for having me on, John.
No problem, Tony. Thanks for coming on, mate. And we got to go as well. She'll be back tomorrow. Watch what you're doing, guys. And I shall see you guys tomorrow. Hit the like, subscribe, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. So watch what you're doing, lads. And it's goodbye.